Ruskin Mill College have been working with special needs students for over 25 years, helping them to develop practical skills in things like green woodwork, blacksmithing, felting, weaving, to name but a few. Well, now they're creating a craft course programme that they can offer to the general public. We touched on it yesterday, but what we didn't do was get hands-on and have a go. So I decided I really ought to, in the best Blue Peter tradition, with the green woodwork tutor, Richard Turley.
Well, here we have a pole lathe. It's really a device for holding the wood in place, and it's powered by a springy pole. It's an ash pole. Ash is a very springy wood. It's got long fibres, so it has this it's a material that can be used to power this sort of thing. So the pole bends. As it bends, the wood turns towards me, and then it wants to release back and spring back, and the piece of wood will turn away. So I got towards, away. So I can get that. I can start powering that with my foot. The wood's now spinning towards me and then away. As it comes towards me, I can then offer the chisel up, and you can hear that now, and it can start to cut the wood. Now, there's quite a lot of body coordination involved here. I have to press the chisel in as my foot goes down, and as the ash pole bends.
It's the whole musician tapping their top of their head and rubbing their stomach at the same time.
It is. So, and at the same time, my eyes have to watch exactly where that chisel is landing, and I have to be thinking about the shape that I want to produce. So there's quite a system to doing this.
And it's not as if it's a small area, but it's quite a sizable area that you're looking at as you go here. And as you say, you have to be thinking about the whole length of the piece of wood and what you want to come out of it at the end of it.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And if you're not careful, you get carried away and you might well ruin it.
You could easily, it's very, very seducing, this. You can easily just chisel away and away and away, and before you know it, the whole piece is snapped. So I have to be really restrained with what I do. I have to think about, at the moment I'm just making a cylinder shape.
Yeah.
So the whole piece will become a blank cylinder. It's centred along the pivots that are supporting it onto the bed of the lathe, and then once it's centred and forms a cylinder shape, I can then put my own design into the piece of wood. So in terms of a chair design, I would put in a tenon at the end that's going to go into the seat, and then I will put in a bit further down, I'll put in some patterns, and at the base I'll put in a foot.
It's not one of those things, if you make a mistake, you can easily rectify, is it? It's once it's gone, it's gone.
Once it's gone, it's gone. But if you keep it big to start with, you can practice, you can make it big, make a mistake, make it a little bit smaller, but it comes to a point where you can't. You've got to start again. And
how long would it take you to from the beginning to get something that you'd be quite happy with for a chair or whatever?
You know, I've been doing this for a while. I can make a chair leg in about 10 minutes. But if you're starting, it's going to take you about an hour. So it's a much longer process. Now, the beauty of this is you're using the natural grain of the wood. You're going with the strength of the wood. Using hand tools like this, you can't use knotty pieces of wood. You have to use strong pieces of wood. So the end product is naturally a much stronger product than if you, say, used a machine tool, which could rip through the wood. So the hand tools enable you to use... takes a little bit longer, but you come out with a much stronger product that should last a lot longer, and that's one of the great benefits of green woodwork.
I wonder how much of the beauty of this is the fact that we're doing this in the open air with the birds around us. You know, there's something in there.
Yeah, you're right in the woods. Sun's shining, birds are singing. I can see trees right in front of me, and I'm working with a fresh piece of timber. I can smell the wood as well. The beech, because it's still green. You know, I can smell the wood. If I'm using wood like cherry or oak, it's a beautiful smell. So, yeah, it's very important to me.
I'll have a quick go. I don't want to ruin some good work here. So it's...
So left foot on the treadle.
All right, OK. All right.
You want your chisel on there. The bevel needs to be flat against the wood.
OK.
As if you're skimming a stone across a pond. All right. This bevel here is flat. Only the tip of the chisel is meeting the wood.
Okay.
Your left hand is going to just be resting on the chisel.
On the chisel itself,
very gently.
Right, to keep it steady.
Yeah,
OK.
And just get it going and see. There you go.
That's it. Ooh.
No, you've got to... Don't try pressing in yet.
You've got to have some rhythm, haven't you, to start with?
It's very rhythmic, yeah.
That's it.
You've got to start there.
But of course, you have to think, right, I've done that bit. If I do that bit anymore, I'll wear the whole thing away. I've got to move on to another part of it.
You've now got to start thinking about moving. So if you move right, as you're doing it.
Is it better to move while you're doing it, or to stop and reposition and then do it again?
I think try and do it. Try and flow with it.
Because otherwise you get
little
bits that are too high and little bits that are too low.
You need to flow.
How's that?
Okay.
I'm getting somewhere. Getting somewhere. Not bad for 2 minutes work.
A few shavings coming off there. Yeah, good start. Yeah.
But how long would you, as a beginner, when you're starting somebody off, how long would you expect to really spend a lot of time focusing on something like this?
You can get a good result within a weekend. You know, within a first weekend, you will have learned the basics of pole lathing. You know, you can also make a very nice chair just cleaving the wood and draw knifing it. A lot of the old traditional chairs were draw knifed, which just means which is finished without using the pole lathe. The pole lathe is a very English tool and involves taking the draw knife piece of wood and then putting an imprint into it. So there's different stages, and different abilities can access it in different ways. So if you find you're good with the pole lathe, you can spend take a couple of weekends to start mastering it. You know, it takes a while.
That was, absolutely, yes, outside, in the open air. It was wonderful, under this huge pagoda that they've got out there, that they do the work in. And it was recorded towards the end of last week, I think Thursday or Friday last week I went to do that. And it was so lovely, because it was so warm, and as you heard Richard describing it there, it's fantastic to be out and about, the birds are singing, it's warm, and you're doing a really good old-fashioned job, the old green woodwork. So thank you to Richard for showing me, and it is very, very difficult to start with, but then once you get into a rhythm, it's much easier. And I did mention it is like the old musicians thing, where you tap the top of your head and rub your tummy at the same time. It's coordination, and that's never something I've been famous for. Just part of some of the courses that they're going to be offering at Ruskin Mill College. We're off to the blacksmith's workshop a little later.